It's giving lesbian. That's what I wanted to add. Tobias, I'm starting to think that you just grabbed Moirin out of the fucking sea at this point. Hello and welcome to the very, very first reading vlog in my Goodreads Fantasy Longlist challenge. I will find a better way to say that. I don't know how to shorten that title. This is the second time I'm attempting this video. Yesterday, I tried to do it, and I don't know whether you can tell by my voice, but I'm fighting a cold, so I'm forcing the energy for this video because I'm fighting a very, very strong cold. I can't handle it. But this is my second time filming it because yesterday was an absolute write-off. I was so ill. I've just started the first book, which is A Sweet Sting of Salt by Rose Sutherland. For more information on the TBR and the rules surrounding this challenge, I will link in the bio and somewhere here the link to the original video where I list all the books I plan on reading and all that fun stuff. The goal for each of these reading vlogs is to tackle 2 or 3 books on the long list. I want to keep it, I can't promise you these are going to be spoiler free or non-spoiler. I'm trying to keep it spoiler free, but sometimes these things happen, okay? And I will pre-warn you if it's a spoiler. For this video, it will be The Sweet Sting of Salt, The Dead Cattail Assassins by P Djèlí Clark, and I think it's Voyage of the Damned by Frances White. And I will check in every 50 pages or so, unless there is some big, egregious thing that I need to share. I will keep it relatively spoiler-free, but if I do decide to share a spoiler to give context or to a reaction or anything, I will let you know that it's a spoiler, and then you can watch to your own personal choice, because obviously I am aware that these were longlisted for last year, so I think a lot of these books are all still in hardback, and I own in hardback, or have only recently come out in paperback, which is when a lot of people read those books, so I'll let you know. But yeah, so that is kind of the summary of what I want these videos to be. I have read so far 48 pages of A Sweet Sting of Salt, and I'm really enjoying it so far. The goal is that at the end of each video, I will kind of give a rating and a rough ranking of where these books will go, and at the end of each video, I will update that. But A Sweet Sting of Salt, I've read the first 48 pages, and they were a good 48 pages. This follows Jean. Jean is the village midwife. She lost her mum at a very, very young age, and her father, who was a fisherman, only a couple of years ago, and she's been trained up to be a midwife by a woman in the village called Annika. One day in the middle of the night when a storm is brewing, she sees a young woman in very, very late stages of labour about to give birth at the beach. So she gets her, hauls her butt up to her cottage and helps her give birth to a baby boy who has webbed fingers and toes. She finds out that this young woman is the wife of a neighbour of hers, and that is where I've got up to. So apart from that, I'm going to hopefully keep everything spoiler free, but that's where I've got up to. Currently, the writing is really accessible. The characters are really interesting. I thought it was a very, very, very solid start to what's hopefully a very good book. For those of you who are tuning in and haven't looked at my other video, the way that I am reading these books is I am starting with least amount of votes first and then leaving the most amount of votes and the winner to the end. Though you will know that I may not actually be reading the winner because it is part of a series and I've not read the others, but we'll see how I feel when we get there. But yeah, so A Sweet Sting of Salt had the least amount of votes, and I want to compare kind of the original running order to my personal ranking. So yeah, but I'm about to chuck in and do another 50 pages, and I will update you once those 50 pages are done. Sorry, I did forget to add that for a little bit extra context, this is a queer retelling of the Selkie wife from Scottish mythology. And Jean, our main girl here, it's strongly hinted that Jean is gay. And she had a falling out with a young woman in the past that seems to have very queer connotations, and a lot of people allow her to be the village midwife because she's very good at what she does, but they are alluding to these rumours that are swirling about Jean that people don't really agree with her and her lifestyle. It's giving lesbian. It's giving lesbian. That's what I wanted to add. And I'm now over 100 pages of the way through A Sweet Sting of Salt. About 114 pages into A Sweet Sting of Salt now, and I have decided I have to be a little bit spoilerish for this, just because in order to have an understanding of the story, you need to be a bit spoilerish for this. I'll try and keep it not like big plot twists, but I'm not going to promise that I'm not going to be super vague. Does that make sense? So 15 pages into this, I'm thoroughly loving it. Really enjoying it. It is just the perfect small scale, small level, low fantasy. It's definitely more of a historical fantasy than I thought. It is set in Nova Scotia, which I found out. It is just perfectly, beautifully folklore, historical, queer vibes, if that makes sense. At this point where I'm at in the story, Moirin, who was the pregnant woman, has just gone home to her husband and their baby. But Jean was able to extend her stay away from her marital home by a week. So Moirin and Jean have been spending time together, homesteading together. Jean has been teaching Moirin English words. Obviously, at this point, she thinks Moirin is from Scotland and is just speaking Gaelic or Gaelic. I can't remember which is the correct term. And isn't really twigging onto anything. As someone who knows this is a retelling of the Selkie wife, I'm like, Queen, that is a Selkie. That is a Selkie, but they are very much homesteading together. They've U-hauled it, these girlies. You can sense their budding romance. It's very subtle. It's these touches here and there where Jean is going, well, she's just more of a tactile person. And I'm there like, okay, babe. Okay, whatever you say. We get a little bit more of Jean's background and her relationship with this elusive Joe Kennedy that she keeps talking about. Or Kenny? I can't remember. I think it might be Kenny. Who was a woman that Jean was very close to, and the woman where all these rumours started. And yes, at this point, Moirin has gone back home with her husband and her child. And Jean has put two and two together that Moirin is not really ecstatic and comfortable at the idea of going back to her marital home. There is a scene where Jean and Moirin are down at the beach before Moirin is to go back to her husband's house, and they see a seal, and I was like, oh, I see you. And suddenly Moirin is like really bubbly. She's laughing, she's ecstatic, she's showing her baby to the seal, and I'm like, I can see it. Jean, can you not see it? I can see it. But obviously, why would Jean see that Moirin is a Selkie when, you know, I know that I'm reading a Selkie retelling, the Selkie wife retelling. Jean does not know that she is in a retelling of the Selkie wife. Tobias, who's the husband, comes back early to pick Moirin up and is like, get away from the beach! Get away! And you're like, Tobias, I'm starting to think that you just grabbed Moirin out of the fucking sea at this point and have made her your wife and made her with child. And I am wanting to call the police, Tobias. But as Moirin leaves, the entire time she's saying good not, and Moirin is assuming that maybe this was a marriage that she didn't really want to be in but was forced to be in because she was pregnant, and is now kind of putting two together that she meant to say not good, not, like a good tying of a knot. Actually, the word's not good. I'm 120 pages into the book, and this is going to be such a silly, like, pet peeve. It's not even a pet peeve at all. It's not a pet peeve. But a silly little thing that I've noticed is that, obviously, I know that this is a retelling of the Selkie wife. The characters in the story don't know that. So when there's conversations between Moirin, who is the Selkie, and Jean, it's a lot of like, Moirin going to Jean, I don't want to be a wife. I don't want to be here. I want to leave. And Jean's like, oh my God, of course she doesn't want to be a wife. She had this baby and had to get married because she was pregnant. Of course she doesn't want to be married to this man. And it's like, Queen, no, she's not even human. She doesn't want to be a human. She wants to go back to her home in the sea. It's not just like, oh, I got pregnant out of wedlock. That man probably captured her. She's been stolen from her home and her people and forced to have a baby, who she does seem to love, which is always nice. But it's not this kind of like, oh, I don't know why I was worrying. She's fine. She's just adjusting. She's learning a whole new language. Anyway, I do think it's quite funny because obviously the character is very understandably logicalizing, that's not even a word, logically figuring everything out and being realistic. And I'm like, bestie, you have a whole rude awakening coming up because that is not even a human. Moirin is not human. So she misses the sea, babe. I am now 150 pages in. I'm on chapter 13. I just really, really like it. I am scared. I'm trying to figure out whether Moirin's husband is actually a scary asshole, or whether the whole point is that Moirin's not human and that's where most of the confusing things comes from, or whether Tobias is actually an asshole because he's an asshole for the book, or he's a bit of a dick because of the patriarchal society he's been raised in. I'm trying to figure that one out. But yes, I'm officially halfway through the book now. This is such a great way to start this challenge because it's just so good. When it was on the long list, despite, you know, being a bookseller, I like to think I have my finger on the pulse for a lot of books, but I did not know about this one. And I was thinking to myself, you know, how did I miss such a big fantasy book that it was included in the Goodreads long list and I didn't know about it? I get it. I get it. This is really, really good. Really, really good. I'm really enjoying it. I hope that the ending is amazing because I think this could 100% be a 5-star read. And we're back for another day of reading A Sweet Sting of Salt by Rose Sutherland. We at this point are now halfway through the book. The hope is to potentially finish the book today. If I don't finish it today is Wednesday, I will definitely finish it on Thursday, which gives me plenty of time then to read my fantasy book group book. I'm trying to do book on book off. I've mentioned this already, I think in a weekly vlog, but for these reading challenge, because I have loads of other commitments with other books, for book groups, events, publishers, things like this, I'm not able to just sit down and read the entire long list all at once because the variety in the long list is so good. You're not feeling like you're just reading the same thing in just a different font, which might be different if I read some of the other long lists, but this fantasy long list, there's massive variety. I mean, we've got a queer retelling set in Nova Scotia based on the Selkie wife, and then you've got a 500 plus page retelling of Arthuriana. You've got a Sherlock Holmes Lovecraftian fantasy murder mystery, all of these kinds of stuff that we've got going on in this long list. So I am doing book on book off. So after reading A Sweet Sting of Salt, I'm jumping into Dragonfall by L.R. Lamb, which is my book group book. But if this wasn't, because I just want to say as well, this is obviously from America. So this was a $14.99 UK retail price for this book. If this wasn't $14.99 UK retail price, I would 100% recommend this book to people at my book group. Yeah, I just really, really enjoy it. I think it's great. I don't love the cover. I've said this before and I say it again. I feel like we could have done something a bit better with the cover. I don't know. But anyway, that's where we're at. I'm 164 pages into this book. I have my egregiously large smoothie that is basically the size of my head. Which has pineapples and ginger and raspberries and blackberries and all of that because I'm super healthy. And I feel like we're getting to the big problem part of the novel now. Shit is about to hit the fan. I don't know why we can't let these women just be together and in love, but I guess that's just me. I'm intrigued to see how it ends. My theory is that it's going to end with Moirin taking her and the baby and they're going to go into the sea. And then maybe either Jean will leave the village that she's in, or Jean will just sit there being a midwife in that village for years to come, with Moirin visiting her like twice a year with baby Kira. I don't see them ending up with a life together. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I think maybe it's one of those things where it's like, and I wait at my village looking over the cliff for the sight of a seal or something like that. My smoothie messed up. What the fuck just happened? No! So I have managed to get the smoothie off my face and out of my hair. My poor hoodie is on a cotton stain. I don't even think it's cotton, but it's on a stain removal cycle. I am now over 200 pages into A Sweet Sting of Salt. And yeah, we're on the home stretch really now at this point. It's about 100 and how many pages? I've got 120 pages left. I'm very confident I will finish this today. So it is done. I have read my first book in this challenge. This is so exciting. It took me 3 days to read, but I have finished A Sweet Sting of Salt by Rose Sutherland. It was so good. It just was a perfect queer romance. Good amount of tension. So good. I ultimately gave this book 5 stars. That was my ultimate rating, so very well loved. So I'm very intrigued to see how it fares with the rest of the books. But I just found the characters to be amazing. I loved Moirin and Jean. The setting to be so incredibly well established, even though it's not really the main pull of the book, just feeling like you can feel the sand between your toes and you can feel the wind going past your face the same way it does with Jean or with Moirin or any of the characters is so well done. I thought the plot was really engaging. I loved the ending. The ending did not turn out the way I expected it from my original theory. I thought the retelling elements were really strong. It was such an incredible book, and I think it's such a great way to start this challenge with a 5-star rating. I cannot believe it. So I'm intrigued to see what the next book, how the next book fares. I will talk more about my overall thoughts once we get to the end of this challenge, but it was such an incredible way to start this. Everyone should check out A Sweet Sting of Salt, especially if you're in America, because it's easier for you to get there. But it's so good, so worth your time. Just a beautiful story. I can understand why it made it to the long list. Hello and welcome back. For you, this is probably just like the second after I finished A Sweet Sting of Salt. But for me, it's been like 2 weeks since I read A Sweet Sting of Salt, which was an amazing 5-star read. It is time to clock in for my next read, which is The Dead Cat Tail Assassins. My goal is to read half of it today and then half of it on my next day off, which is like, I'm literally day off, working day off, and do that, and hopefully I love it. P Djèlí Clark, I've said this before and I'll say it again. P Djèlí Clark is one of my all-time favourite authors. He's incredible, so I have nothing but high hopes for this book. It is about an assassin who tries to get a job done, but her past comes back to haunt her as she tries to do a job. It's another one of his beautiful novellas. I'm excited. The sun is shining. I'm going to go sit on my garden and read. Let's do this.
The music stopped, but someone's building something in the next door neighbour's garden. So maybe the weather's nice, but the sounds aren't great. But I'm not going to say anything because what someone does in their own garden is what someone does in their own garden, you know. You see what I mean? I'm going inside.
So I have read about 30 pages so far. The key things I've learned, because it's only 211 pages, we are making our way surely through this book. The first thing of note is our main character, Avine, is a woman in her late 30s that signed a contract when she was alive that when she died, she would serve this goddess as a dead cat tail assassin, which is what's obviously happened. She doesn't know anything about her life prior to her death. She just wakes up, finds out she's dead, and that her non-dead self had signed a contract saying she was going to have to work and spend the rest of her life being an assassin. And she is set off on this job, and she walks into the room of her intended victim, and the victim has a face that shocks her. And I don't know exactly whose the face is. I'm guessing potentially it's like a potential family member, maybe a daughter, maybe a niece, a sister, something like that. That's like my theory. But where I'm at the moment, I'm unsure what it is. But so far, writing is really good. It's always great with the P Djèlí Clark book. I am just waiting for that plot. We've had the twist now where it's like, okay, this is interesting. I want to see if the plot amps it up a notch. But it's quite hard to focus when somebody is out blasting music. But I can't sit there and be like, excuse me, can you turn your music down? I'm reading, because it's what somebody's doing in their own garden. And thankfully I can kind of focus a little bit, so it's not too bad. But, you know, what you want to do in your own fucking garden on your own weekend off. You know, I'm not going to sit here and be the fucking noise police. But there is a small part of me that's like, just turn it down. Or if you're going to play music, can you play like classical music so I can focus on my book more? But yeah, so far so good. Great start for the Dead Cattail Assassins. So I'm about 50 pages into the Dead Cattail Assassins. And like, there's like a very early plot twist, which I kind of guessed. And I think that's the point. First of all, look at this. I think it's meant to be a letter opener, but it's a little claw. Oh my god, I gotta do one of those, like, can you see? I don't know whether it's focusing. It's really cool. It's definitely not a bookmark, but I'm using it as a bookmark at the moment. At the moment, definitely the first P Djèlí Clark book that hasn't grabbed me instantly. Like, I'm enjoying it, but with every other book of his that I've read, I've been like invested from the get-go. This one is taking me a little bit of time. I have read a quarter of the book so far. It's good, it's not bad, but I'm waiting for that kind of, that click, you know, that moment where you're like, oh, I'm in this, and I'm yet to get that. One thing I will say is Mr. Clark absolutely smashes it out of the park when it comes to world building. I enjoy every single world that he's in. He is really good at creating a very in-depth, intricate world without also giving you too much to go on. This book is 211 pages, and you know that this world is intricate to its very core, but he doesn't have to give you that much. And it's just such great writing, and he always writes worlds that are so compelling that I want to learn more about the world. And yeah, just love it. Just love every world that he creates. It's so good. It's so smart. This is also enjoyable. So there we go. So I'm over halfway of the Dead Cattail Assassins. I've taken the dust jacket off because I do not like to read with a dust jacket on. I'm 109 pages. It's 211 pages, so just over halfway. I am still waiting for this click. I will be completely honest. It's not a bad book. I love the world that he's created. I think the story is interesting. But there's normally a click where I'm like, oh, I'm invested. And I'm just not feeling that this time around. This is so disappointing. Yeah, I still have about 100 pages to go. And I do want to know how it ends. That's the thing. I do want to know how it ends. But right now there's no like drawing, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to take a bit of a break. I'm going to go have a shower and wash my hair and do all of this. And then come back to it with a bit of a fresher mind. But yeah, I was kind of hoping that I would get that. I think you know exactly what I'm saying when I'm saying like there needs to be that click. That's kind of what I'm feeling with this one, because it's not there yet. One thing I want to say about this is that I love books that are set over short time periods. Love books that are set over short time periods. I like when they're set over a weekend, when they're set over a day. In this case, it's set over one evening. And that is one thing, stakes-wise, that I'm enjoying, is that they've got until morning to sort this shit out. And I just think it's fun. I think it adds a fun element to the story. When I read Everyone on This Train is a Suspect by Benjamin Stevenson, that was set over 3 days on this one train journey, and they had to solve the murder before the train docked in the final station. All stuff like that is really, really cool, and I do like that in books. Okay, so I'm 135 pages into this book. This is all I've got left. Not that much. Oh my god, look at my hairline. What is that? Anyway, not that much left. It's definitely picking up. It's definitely getting more interesting. There's a couple of reveals that have popped up, which I've been enjoying. So I'm just intrigued to see how it ends. I have a theory about how it ends. And I'm trying to keep the spoiler free, so I'm not saying too much, but I have a theory of how it ends. But that's probably why I'm reading so much, is I want to know exactly how it ends, what decisions the characters make, what decision the author decides to take with these characters. We shall see. Though if I'm being completely honest, right now, I'm unsure if this is going to be a sweet sting of salt. Now, according to the Goodreads voting system, this beat, I don't know by how many votes, but it did beat a sweet sting of salt. But right now for me, sweet sting of salt was 5 stars. This is probably going to be maybe a 3.5, 4 stars if the ending is good. So we'll see. Had to change my top because I was overheating in my jumper, but also now I'm cold, so this is a very weird feeling. But the second part of this book is picking up. Jesus. It's picking up. It's very good. How many pages am I in now? 156 pages. It's good. I'm enjoying it. I've definitely enjoyed his other books more, but it's picking up. It's getting good. The world building is getting even better, which I always love the worlds that he creates. So yeah. So our main character just full on bloody violence attacked this guy that was about to attack her and this other character, but more for the reason that she just found out he destroyed her entire collection of books. And I think she's valid. I too would get arsy and attack someone if they destroyed my book collection. So she's got my support. Dust jacket. I don't know what it is. I don't like reading things with the dust jacket on. It just feels like it rips easily. And I'm not a fan. Come on. Jesus. Oh my god. Get in. Right. So I've just finished The Dead Cattail Assassins. I would say it's not my favourite. Oh my god, my phone. Everybody stop texting me. I'm so popular. I wouldn't say it was my favourite book by this author. That title still remains with The Master of Jinn. This had good characters. I really enjoyed the world. There was just something missing from the book, and I'm not entirely sure what it was. I wouldn't say I liked the characters and I liked the world. I wouldn't say I loved the plot. There were some good things, interesting reveals, but I wouldn't say I was absolutely obsessed with the plot. I was kind of expecting to have that kind of strong, oh my god, this is amazing, I need to just inhale it kind of response that I've had with The Master of Jinn and I had with Ring Shout. It's not really anything to do with the book. Sometimes it is genuinely just yourself. Sometimes you just read a book and you can go, I understand why people like it. It was just fine. It wasn't really my thing. And it's not really the fault of anyone. It's just a preference. And that's what I want to just say is I don't actually think it's anything. I don't think the author could have done anything else. I just think this time around, preference-wise, it wasn't really my thing. So yes, that is book 2 of my Goodreads reading challenge done. The next book we'll be reading originally was planned to be Voyage of the Damned. It's now going to be The Tainted Cup and Voyage of the Damned because we're reading The Tainted Cup for my book group for May. I will probably give this rating 3.5 stars. So in regards to the overall rankings, A Sweet Sting of Salt was 5 stars. This is 3.5. So already the kind of overall long list, because when you go onto Goodreads, you do actually see how many votes were given to each book. It's already shaking up already. But I'm intrigued to see. The Tainted Cup is 100% my thing. Fantasy murder mystery. So hopefully I really enjoy it. But that is another book done. Please like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. I will be doing a second vlog dedicated to the next 2 books that I plan on reading. And yeah, thank you for coming along. I hope you continue to watch these as they unfold. I hope